A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to StudyIQ English. A very warm welcome to today's The Hindu newspaper analysis for 23rd August 2025. And like each day, in our news discussion, we shall be looking at UPSC relevant articles for both the prelims and the mains exam from the perspective of the upcoming mains exam, for the upcoming next prelims exam. We will try to have a comprehensive coverage of the important articles. Alongside, we shall be sharing prelims practice question, okay, and also do a quick topic mapping to show you exactly which article relates to which segment of the UPSC syllabus. Now, should you have any questions, should you have any queries, I welcome you to keep posting your comment in the live comment section. Even later, you can post your comments in the comment box that's pinned below. A very good morning, Shaggy. Welcome to today's session. Let's begin with the discussion then. And here on this page, as we can see, we have a list of all the important articles for the day. Well, the first two articles are basically a combination. I have combined two articles, one from page number 1, where the Supreme Court seems to have had a change of heart. Supreme Court feels that the earlier decision given by it on the stray dog eviction policy seems to be a ruthless one. Supreme Court wants to go back on it. We shall combine that with another editorial article from page number 6, which again examines Indian policy on stray dog menace. Post that, we have a variety of articles today. One is a debate between economic development and tribal rights. We will talk about India-China relationship. Nepal is having new objections to India-China relationship. We will talk about how Israel continues to attack Gaza. Once again, the world is witnessing genocide, starvation, humanitarian crisis. And the last article of the day is a repetition of an issue that has been in news for the last 10 days. The Election Commission wants the state government in Bihar to help the State Election Commission in including the names of missing voters. Well, that's the agenda for the day. Now let's get going with the very first article. Good morning, Sai. Good morning, Sakshi. The first article, page number 1, titles Apex Court, that's the Honorable Supreme Court of India, wants to modify its earlier harsh decision. Brutal decision, and now it wants to allow the release of stray dogs back on the Delhi roads. Citizens are erupting in a debate. There are some who feel it is very, very inhuman to let human beings face the menace of dog bites, pain, trauma, rabies, and other infections. While the animal lovers and the NGOs, including PETA, is very happy with the decision. It says that finally the government is changing its cruel stand on animals. Let's examine the order properly. Let's do a quick topic mapping. This comes from your GS paper 2 because we are talking about fundamental duties here. Now, if I was to ask you a question, how many fundamental duties do we have in our constitution? Would you want to tell me how many are actually there? So this topic relates with fundamental duties. Yes, we are talking about Article 51. That happens to be quite an important fundamental duty under Article 51G of the Constitution. Yes, it is also about Supreme Court trying to revise its order. So once again, it is polity and governance under GS paper 2. So what does the article say? What's the key issue that we should discuss here? This article relates with another editorial article on page number 6, which has highlighted that how the Supreme Court's policy on just 8 weeks time given to the municipal authorities of relocating all the stray dogs from the city roads into some faraway remote shelters. Was that a good policy? Was it actually in line with helping citizens in need? Or was it a very, very unsystematic, unplanned, a very short-sighted policy? If we were to go by today's jurisdiction, then let's understand that on August 11, 2025, the Honorable Supreme Court of India had ordered that within 8 weeks of time, the Municipal Corporation of Delhi will have to relocate all the stray dogs on the roads. And then these dogs will be confined in shelters in the outskirts of the city. Okay. Now, this was happening because there were complaints all across Delhi that aggressive and rabid dogs, dogs who were not vaccinated, dogs who have become wild, they are biting the passers-by. They are leading to a fear of massive infections among people. These should be removed and confined into the shelters. That was the policy. Obviously, the policy was met with criticism. Now, Indian democracy is very, very vocal about orders either given by the legislature at the parliament or by orders issued by the Supreme Court or High Courts. And once again, animal lovers, activists, NGOs, social media campaigns said that it is a very inhuman, ruthless policy. We cannot throw the dogs out. They have been a part of India's urban culture for since times immemorial now. Therefore, today, as we talk about 23rd August 2025, the Supreme Court has revised its decision. It has revised its earlier decision. Today, the Supreme Court is saying that, okay, let us not relocate these dogs because its earlier decision was perceived to be too harsh. Supreme Court is also saying that the earlier decision of removing the stray dogs overnight was against the Animal Birth Control ABC Rules 2023. Because these rules under the Prevention of Cruelty Against Animals 1960 say that we can catch the dogs, we can neuter them, we can make them sterile so that they don't reproduce, we can vaccinate them or treat them for disease, and once again they have to be released on the same road from where they were picked up. The ABC rules, Animal Birth Control Rules 2023, they do not allow relocation. That is not a part of the agenda. Similarly, Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960 also mandates the same thing. You can catch the dogs, you can treat the dogs, you can vaccinate the dogs, but you cannot throw them out. So therefore, today Supreme Court has said that let me revise my order and now let us not relocate these dogs. Let's go with the old policy because it looks like quick fix solutions like throw the problem out or kill the dogs or just remove them from public sight is not a valid solution. The editorial article says the same thing, that why was the earlier order fundamentally wrong? It was wrong because while the Supreme Court says that putting these dogs in a massive shelter was a good solution, in reality, just think about it. When thousands of stray dogs will be put in shelters or cages, can we imagine the cruelty that they will go through? Does the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, the MCD, has enough funding? Does it have enough space to provide adequate, spacious, safe shelters for these dogs? It doesn't have. Who will take care of their food, medication requirement? Otherwise, also, if they are not taken care of, these many packs of dogs being caged together again increases the fear of zoonotic diseases. Now we know what is zoonotic disease. After COVID-19 pandemic, everywhere we have spoken about zoonosis. The kind of infections, bacterial, virals, fungals, which can travel between humans and animals. They can cross the species barrier. All living beings can have these diseases, like the COVID pandemic. It came perhaps from some kind of a bat meat consumption. We have the bird flu, we have the swine flu. These are zoonotic diseases. Today, under the global One Health program, to which India is also a protocol, it is believed that animal health is not very different from human health or plant health. Under the One Health World program, under the World Health Organization's mandate, we believe that Since zoonosis is taking place today, we have to take care of all living species completely. Because if one living species falls sick, the infection can get transported into other species also, from humans to animals, animals to humans, and so on. It's a vicious cycle. Putting these dogs together in the shelters where there is no provision, no facility, can lead to massive outbreak of zoonotic diseases. These can be contracted by animal activists who visit the dogs. These can be contracted by municipal workers, by the cleaning staff, by the pet lovers who go and visit them, by the veterinarians who treat them. Again, we will just enter into a new phase of pandemic. So it was an illogical policy anyway. And then imagine diseases like rabies, leptospirosis, dangerous zoonotic diseases, which take the lives of so many animal care workers every year across the world. If they break out, are we in a position to once again tackle with another pandemic menace? Not really. Similarly, another problem is that what if these animals die? Who will take care of disposing the mass carcass of these animals? Do we have the space to do that? Do we have the proper protocols to dispose of mass number of dead animals at once? Not really. Once again, that can lead to disease outbreak, environmental degradation of a dangerous kind. Another point comes under the constitutional provision. Absolutely, India abides not only by its directive principles of state policy, because we know that the DPSP, they are a part of our moral guidelines. They create a moral guideline to the government for welfare governance. They also believe in a kind, humane treatments of animals and cattle altogether. Then there is fundamental duties. We have the fundamental duty article 15AG, which says that it is the duty of human beings to show animals compassion. We have to be compassionate towards our animal population. So we cannot neglect this fundamental duty in the first place. Apart from that, we also know that rather than throwing the animals out, why can't we accept the fact that somewhere the Municipal Corporation of Delhi has failed in the past, failed to control urban flooding? Remember how ruthlessly coaching institute students had died just because they got caught up in a building collapse. There are so many times improperly constructed buildings that lead to fires in residential areas. Do we talk about that? Do we talk about how every year the Yamuna water crosses the breach mark and so many livelihoods of slum dwellers who live around that area get threatened? Do we ever talk about why the Municipal Corporation of Delhi all these years failed to carry out mass sterilization of these stray dogs? Do we ever wonder why, because of low budget and poor infrastructure facilities, were these dogs not treated of problems like rabies? Why couldn't we control their population? That today a situation has come that we are thinking of throwing them out or killing them? Is it not the failure of municipal authority or the state government? Yes, it is. Then, apart from that, the article also says in India, stray dogs are not alien entities. They are quite a part of our urban ecosystem. A lot of people say that the rich people enjoy the luxury of loving stray dogs. Animal compassion is nothing but a fancy for them. And while it's the poor, slum dwelling migrant labor population who experiences animal attacks, article says it is not true. It's an overgeneralization. When in reality, people who sleep on the road, people who live on the slums, sometimes find companionship in these dogs. Sometimes they are the ones who feed and raise these poor stray dogs. Sometimes these stray dogs protect the slum areas from any external outside intrusion, dacoit, or theft. How can we ignore that? Apart from that, the article also says slum near the slum regions, near the water bodies, it is these stray dogs who are controlling the rodent population, like rats, moles. If the dogs are removed, dangerous wild rats, rodents will overrun the city in no time. Something what happened in Australia just 2 years back. There was such a massive rat menace that people were scared even to sleep in the night. Something similar could happen here also. Besides, the Supreme Court earlier order of removing the dogs was also contradicting the World Health Organization's guidelines and India's own national action plan for dog mediated rabies elimination. We will call this as the NAPRE, NAPRE. That is National Action Plan for Dog Mediated Rabies Elimination. It is quite against that principle also. Nowhere do these provisions talk about throwing or killing the stray animals without a reason. So, what we really need to do right now, what is the way forward? The way forward is to understand, to accept that it is a failure of municipal governance, it is a failure of the state governments. Another thing the article says is that nature is a wonderful mechanism. Nature always learns how to fill vacuum. Imagine when COVID pandemic was happening and humans were not stepping out because of social distancing and lockdown. The number of area under wild forest suddenly increased in just 1 or 2 years because nature knows how to fulfill an empty space. Nature is an excellent filler of vacuum spaces. So the article argues that, by the same logic, if the dogs are removed from Delhi NCR, then other stray dogs from nearby states like Punjab, Haryana, they will come and enter New Delhi and start populating that area once again. So what can the government do? Should the government put border patrolling against stray dogs now? That's a funny question article is asking. It's quite a satirical question article is asking. So therefore, let's understand that there has been an urban planning failure. Today, this band-aid solution is not going to help. Let's just look at mass sterilization again. Let's just look at treating rabid or aggressive dogs again. Let's just use the facilities, the services of NGOs, pet lovers, and veterinarians in a more aggressive manner. Let's provide more funding to NGOs who are working to rehabilitate and cure these animals. Apart from that, we should also understand constitutionally that long back in 2024, there was a judgment given by the Honorable Supreme Court through a bench under Justice G.B. Pardiwala. This said that why can't we stop throwing out or killing of animals? In fact, why can't we actually try to understand that science and compassion can go together? Scientifically find a solution to the stray dog menace and then act with human emotion, act with compassion towards them. See why do they attack? Identify the hotspot areas where they are overpopulated. Think of the fact in which ways can we make the city safer for our residents? After all, India is also a party to the UN right to the city, United Nations right to city. Under this, every city resident has an equal right to safety, security, and infrastructure of the city. Then why let few people suffer and others roll in luxury? So, under that logic, today, as Supreme Court says, under the 2023 judgment of Maheshwari judgment, that is known as the animal birth control rules, let's go with science, let's go with passion. Killing and throwing of dogs is not the solution. So today, as the Supreme Court has modified its order of allowing the dogs to be reinstated in their localities, makes a lot of sense. According to the article, this is an approach towards humanitarianism as well as scientific dog management. That's the pitch of the article. Quickly to the prelims question of the day. The question says, consider the following statements about management of stray dog population in India. First statement talks about Animal Birth Control Rules 2023. Under this, it is a rule to permanently confine the stray dogs in shelters to prevent human-animal conflict. 2. The Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960 provides the legal basis of creating the ABC rules, the Animal Birth Control Rules, and C. The World Health Organization recommends sterilization and vaccination as scientific method of controlling dog-mediated or dog-caused rabies infection. Which of these statements is or are valid? I have pinned all the answers in the last page of the slide. which you can have a look at. Any questions, please feel free. Absolutely, that's a logical comment, Shaggy, that it is quite sad that despite so many other serious challenges that we are facing, the country seems to be divided on the management of stray dog population. Yes, it's a paradox. I so agree. Now let's move to the second article for the day. This is about the age-old debate. On the one hand, we have economic growth, economic development. On the other hand, once again, nature rights, nature preservation, and tribal rights. Since history, both these agendas have been controversial, they have been conflicting with each other. The only solution? Sustainable, systematic economic development. But it's easier said than done. So today, this article from page number 8 says, when we are discussing the Great Nicobar project, we are also witnessing a systematic deprivation of tribal rights here. A very good morning, Vansh. We are experiencing a systematic deprivation of local tribals and their rights. Okay? The debate is once again the same. On the one hand, we have the central government who says that the tribal councils were consulted and they were given time to have a good discussion with the government. It was only after taking permission from the tribal council that the government decided to start building the project. But the tribal council is angry. The tribal councils are saying that we were never consulted. We were never given the time to properly discuss our concerns with the government. The government just out of the blue, without proper discussion, without proper examining, began the construction of the Great Nicobar project in the ecologically sensitive island region of Andaman and Nicobar. And this is not only a threat to the biodiversity of the island, it is also a very, very sad thing that might happen to the local tribals who are living here. A tribal council. Now, this is a great concept. This takes us back to the 5th and the 6th schedule of the Indian Constitution, both of which talk about tribal populations, which means the scheduled tribes, and tribal areas in India. Now, under the provision of the 5th and the 6th schedule, whichever regions are identified as tribal dominated areas where majority residents are tribals, the government allows for creation of a tribal autonomous council known as TAC. The beauty of this is that majority of the members in this tribal council will come from the scheduled tribe community themselves. And it will also have certain representatives from the central and state government. Anytime a project is created, anytime a policy is formulated for this tribal area, the tribal council always is consulted. There is always a vote of the tribal members that makes a difference. Why? Because the tribes have a right to take decisions regarding the development or any change being done in the area which they inhabit. Okay, so that's tribal council. So this article is a debate between the demands of tribal council and what the central government is saying. If I was to ask you which UPSC topic are we discussing, then we are discussing GS paper 2. Under GS paper 2, we have a segment called social justice, where we often talk about the rights and welfare programs towards vulnerable communities in India, one of which is scheduled tribe population. Now, it's good to remember that as per the 2011 census of India, 8.6% of Indian population is that of scheduled tribe. Okay? But if we look on a very geographical scale, then it's only very few states which have a higher number of tribal population. Of course, we have the northeastern states, and then we have states like Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. Some are there in Gujarat. Of course, we have the Ladakh region. So all in all, whichever regions are dominated by the tribals, their management is related and discussed in the 5th and the 6th schedule of Indian Constitution. Always remember that. Okay. While the 5th schedule talks about all the tribals in various states of India, the 6th schedule is a very special one. It only talks about tribal population in very few states, 5 states, Meghalaya, Tripura, Assam, Manipur, because these are unique tribals. Yes, a very good question you are raising. Yes, yes, absolutely. Once Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh are also concerned. Now, yes, absolutely. There is another population known as PVTG. That's a good topic you have brought in here. These are the particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Long back in India, under Dhibar Commission, there was a commission appointed by central government, Dhibar Commission. It had identified about 73 groups that were coming under particularly vulnerable tribal communities. These are much more backward and poor as compared to other tribals. Today it is Odisha, the state with the highest number of PVTGs. Around 13 PVTG communities are living in Odisha right now. A very good question. Yes, absolutely, Shaggy. Northeastern states have a massive tribal population. That's valid point. So therefore, please try to see the sixth schedule. If you want, I can get you a separate video on the difference between the fifth and the sixth schedule. I can obviously do that. Yes, absolutely. Well said. Okay, so back to the debate of the article. Now, this article is yes, GS paper 2, we know why. Also, it is GS paper 3 because GS paper 3 talks about environmental development, ecological development. And here we are talking about forest rights. We know that FRA, Forest Right Act, is a very important one in India. So, it also is talking about scheduled tribes and their rights on forests. So, yes, GS paper 3. So, what is the article saying? Article says once again there is a controversy between infrastructural economic development and poor tribals and their rights on the other. Tribals are marginalized communities. A marginalized community is one which is living on the margin of the society. Margin of the society because they do not get the opportunity to participate in the mainstream society owing to social, economic, political backwardness. This article says that the government of India has allocated rupees 72,000 crore, that's a massive amount, to develop the Great Nicobar project. Okay, the Great Nicobar project. What is the purpose of the project? The purpose of the project is a complete infrastructure overhauling of the Great Nicobar Island. It includes some important developments like airport for better connectivity. It includes development of a power plant for better electricity supply. It includes a transshipment port for better trade navigation and connectivity. Plus, it also talks about a township of people who will now live in this new urbanized area. This is the plan of the government. But the problem is that despite giving rupees 72,000 crore to the project, the requirement of land in terms of the area that the government needs to implement the Great Nicobar project, the area is 13,075 hectares of land. That is a lot of land. This is the amount of land needed for this project to actually get implemented. So naturally, the tribal communities and tribal councils are concerned. Why are they concerned? They are concerned today because they say that the government did not speak properly. The Andaman and Nicobar Island administration has not spoken properly to the tribal communities. They have not told them exactly where will these people be rehabilitated. This is a deprivation of tribal rights under the FRA, Forest Right Act 2006. Very important question for GS paper 2, 3 and 1. Forest Right Act 2006. It says the government has broken the protocols of Forest Right Act 2006 because one, settlement of snatched land, the land that is being taken away from the tribal, has not been done properly. They have not been showed the new area where they can relocate. Point number 2, the Gram Sabha, whose consent, whose permission is important, it is necessary. No. Yes, there is a provision of a lieutenant governor. Absolutely valid question. Now, talking about the issue back again, the tribal council is saying that it was necessary under the Forest Rights Act 2006 to take the permission of Gram Sabha before the forest land could be taken away for development of the project. That was not done. The permission was not taken. But the government is saying it is not true. We have spoken to the Gram Sabha. We have taken their permission. The tribals were already informed. Everything was done with consensus. But the council is again saying the same thing, the tribal council of Nicobar. It says settlement process has not even started. While the government has already started using machines to build the airport, to build the power plant, but the process of rehabilitation of tribals has not started. Second problem, no genuine consent has been taken. The decision has been imposed on the tribal. So this is the controversy that has broken out. So today we ask a question. How is this project a complete breakdown of Forest Rights Act? How is this project a conflict of India's constitutional provisions for tribal safeguard? Point number one. There is a provision in our constitution called as Protection of Aboriginal Tribes Act, the Pact 56. Very, very important for you for your exam. Under this, the administrator of the concerned state or the union territory has extensive powers, which includes using forest land for economic development, using forest land for creating a national park, using forest land for a hydroelectric project, using forest land for a bird sanctuary. It gives them immense powers. But there is a contradiction. The opposite of Pact 56 is FRA 2006. Because if Pact 56 is giving government too much power to use the land for economic development, the FRA 2006 is giving the power to the Gram Sabha at the village level, at the tribal level, to protect the rights of vulnerable tribals and their communities. So who decides the clash? It is a pure clash of interest. The administration today, the government today is saying that Forest Rights Act 2006 should not be applied to the issues covered under the PAT, Protection of Aboriginal Tribes Act 1956. Because PAT is already giving protection to the tribals. Then why are we using the FRA rights of tribals today? If we stop economic development, then how will the country evolve? That's the government stand. Then today, we are completely caught up in the debate between what to follow. Should we follow the powers of the government under the Pact 56? Or should we actually feel more sympathetic towards these tribals who are saying that rehabilitation has not started? Imagine I'm living in my house. Outside my house, you come and you start building a power plant. I'm listening to that noise every day. All that dust and sand I'm inhaling. My house is getting cracked up. And you are not even giving me the direction where to go. As a tribal, will I be happy? Of course not. So definitely it comes under the Forest Right Act 2006. So what to follow today? FRA is more genuine in this case or the Pact 56 is more genuine in this case? Nobody knows. So therefore, what is the solution? Right now there is no solution. There is complete uncertainty. The tribal council at the local level has written a detailed letter to the Union Tribal Minister, Mr. Joal Oram. And they are hoping that the union government comes to their rescue. They are not saying don't do the Great Nicobar project. All they are saying is that before you begin making the transshipment link the airport, the power plant and the township, maybe tomorrow malls and metro also, please understand two things, that islands are not the mainland India. They are vulnerable. They are covered by semi-green, tropical, marshy, saline forests. To remove them may not be a good idea. Because tomorrow if there is a threat of tsunami or ocean wave, the mangroves protect the islands. If you remove them, who will protect the island? Anyway, global warming is happening. Ocean waters are increasing. The level of oceans is also rising. Anyway, islands are under threat. Now, creating such a heavy infrastructure, is that a good thing to do? That's one question. Second question, at least before you start making these projects, allow these people to start shifting to their new houses. Where will the women and the children go? So this is what we are left at today, a complete confusion. On the left hand, I hope the map is visible to you. I just got this here to show you the entire picture of how, if this is the Great Nicobar Island, then we are looking at a complete infrastructural development area. This is the map being proposed by the government. An airport over here, a shipment over here. So we really do not know what's the future of the tribals right now. Yes, the cost of economic development is very, very high. I so agree. Correct. Now, to quickly the prelims question, consider the following statements. When it comes to taking away tribal land for economic projects, statement 1 is under the Forest Right Act 2006, the permission of Gram Sabha is mandatory before you divert tribal land for economic development. 2. The Protection of Aboriginal Tribals Act, the PAT 1956. We call it PAT 56. It overrides the FRA provisions in the case of Andaman and Nicobar. 3. The Great Nicobar project involves diverting of more than 10,000 hectares of land that is forested. So which of these are true? It's an easy question except the second statement. Try to solve and post in the comment box. The answer is right here on the last slide. Now the next article for the day is page number 8 again. And now a new controversy has come, a new twist to India-China ties. We had the 2020 Galwan Valley attack, after which India and China once again became enemies. Now this is nothing new, right? Even back in 1962, we experienced the same thing with China. Here, the Indian government under Nehru was busy talking about the Panchsheel Agreement, cooperate with China agenda, non-alignment policy, India's look east policy. On the other hand, China backstabbed. China attacked us. What happened at that time? India was in a state of shock. Military was not even prepared. The external affairs minister actually resigned from his post. It was quite a global embarrassment. Since then to now, relationship with China has never been butter smooth. It's never been easy. It's been a bed of thorns, we know that. Every now and then there is a new problem. The fact that India today is a part of quadrilateral dialogue. The fact that India was rejecting ASEAN because ASEAN is dominated by China. The fact that India was quite categorical in its support towards South Korea, in its support towards Taiwan, in its support towards Hong Kong, towards Japan. All the territories that China tries to keep dominating and harassing. We know that we are not the best of friends. But today a new enemy is in the horizon. That's the Trump-led government. Comes the 50% tariff threat and India and China are trying to snuggle up close together. Well, geopolitics is very unpredictable. So this article on page number 8, India-China trade, which both the countries now want to do through the Lipu Lake Pass of Uttarakhand, is once again in controversy. Today, a new player has come, Nepal. Nepal is not happy about it. Yes, absolutely well said. The Belt and the Road Initiative. Again, that hurts India's interest. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor also threatens India's sovereignty because it passes through the POK region. There are so many issues of contention between India and China. But still, what to do? Enemy's enemy becomes a friend. So therefore, as United States of America is trying to punish the world with tariffs and India is looking at a 50% tariff penalty, India and China are trying to straighten out their relations with each other. Just 2 days back, as a precursor to the upcoming September Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the high-level ministries of both the countries met and China gave unconditional support to India when it comes to war of tariff against US. China said, yes, this is absolutely economic imperialism and we stand by India here. It is the fault of America. It is not India's fault. India-China also said, let's improve our bilateral ties. Let's improve the bilateral trade. Let's have our friendship get better a little bit. So therefore, they also agreed that, okay, let's once again open up the route of the Lipu Lake Pass, which is often known as the Kala Pani Lipu Lake Limpia Dhura region. Now, this is one region that comes at a tri-junction, India, China, Nepal. It's a border pass, okay? It is a pass that opens through Uttarakhand state of India. India, China say, let's open this pass. It will help in trading between both the countries. It will also allow the traders and the local people to move from one area to another more easily. It is a very good sign of renewed friendship and relationship. But today, Nepal is not happy about it. Why? Because Nepal says, as per Nepal's interpretation of its territory, the pass goes through Nepal's border, Nepal's area, and Nepal says it is a violation of Nepal's own sovereignty. Who has taken the permission of Nepal? Nobody. And Nepal does not want to get in this. It does not want to open up the Lipu Lake Pass, at least from where its territory is included. So back to UPSC syllabus, this is GS paper 2 international relations, particularly between India China. Of course, India Nepal. So now this controversy is a very unique one because on 18th August 2025, in fact on 18th August 2024 also, last year also in August and now once again this year in August, India and China said that let's open up the Lipu Lake Pass. This happened as both the ministries were talking to each other. But Nepal is raising an objection. The main reason why Nepal is angry is because Nepal is saying that this Lipu Lake Pass that you are talking about is actually situated in the Kala Pani. Please remember this name, quite important. The Kala Pani Lipu Lake Limpi ya Dhura region. This is a mountainous region in Nepal. Nepal says the Lipu Lake Pass is situated here in the Kala Pani Lipu Lake Limpia Dhura area. And Nepal says this is my territory. Although India does not agree. Because all the battle goes back to the British times. It goes back to the 1800s. Treaty of Sugoli, 1816. The background is 1816. Treaty of Sugoli. A treaty created by the British to create the border line between India and Nepal. Today that treaty once again is in news. Nepal says as per the Treaty of Sugoli, the territory of Lipu Lake Pass is my area. But India says no, it is not. Because both the countries interpret the origin of Kalapani River as different. Recently, Nepal has released a map also, in which Nepal has clearly shown that Lipu Lake Pass completely comes under Nepal region. India has objections, but Nepal wants to carry on with its own interpretation. Okay, so therefore, today Nepal is saying this is unacceptable. This is called sovereign intrusion in my own region. I will not allow that. Although Nepal again is very confused. It says, I do not want to spoil my dialogue or my relationship with India. Now, India is a huge wall of protection for Nepal. Nepal would never risk spoiling relations with India. But at the same time, Nepal is unhappy with the decision. All because there is a conflict of interest when it comes to territory. So let's understand the conflict a little bit. If you can see the map here, if this is Nepal, and this is the state of Uttarakhand here, just bordering Nepal, then here comes the Lipu Lake Pass. As I said, it is in a tri-junction. It is Nepal, India, China, all three. It's a very, very geo-sensitive area. A very good morning, Riddhi. It's a very sensitive area. Okay. So today what happens, both the countries are discussing the Treaty of Sugoli back in 1816. The treaty was signed between British East India Company and Nepal. Under this treaty, the river Kali will become the boundary line between India and Nepal. Correct? But the dispute is that India is saying that Kala Pani River, the Kala Pani River is the origin of Kali River. The Kala Pani River of India is where the Kali River originates from. So therefore, the entire area belongs to India. But Nepal is not agreeing. Nepal is saying that the origin of the river is actually the Limpia Dhura. It is the Limpia Dhura water that is the origin of the river. So therefore, the entire Kala Pani Lipu Lake Limpia Dhura area, that is about 372 square kilometers in its size, it belongs to Nepal. So where is India coming in between? Then back in 2015, India-China also had an agreement under which they said, fine, enough of battles. For the benefit of each other's economic growth, let's allow the use of this sensitive, which I have marked on the map for you in red color, this sensitive Lipu Lake Lipu Lake Pass. Let's allow it for trade also and let's open it up for the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra also. It will be easier for the people on both the sides. But again, Nepal was unhappy. Nepal said, how can you allow Kailash Mansarovar Yatra through this pass? And why should you allow it for trade purpose when it comes under my region as per the Treaty of Sugoli? So the main problem is Treaty of Sugoli itself. See, talking on a very, very simple terms, all these treaties from history were made on a certain geography of the world. With time, geography also changes. River shifts their courses. Mountains get eroded. There are landslides, there are earthquakes, there are tectonic shifts. The world geographical map will not exactly 100% tally with what it used to be back in 1816. There will be minor changes. Anytime there is any such minor change, the border dispute again become fresh. Okay, so today it is the Treaty of Sugoli and the origin of the Kali River. That happens to be the bone of contention between India and Nepal. Right? So now 2020 Nepal issued a new map in which very clearly Nepal has included Kala Pani, Lipu Lake, Limpadhura area in its own region. And it says it is my country. I will not allow India and China to do anything here. Now, naturally, this is not to be digested by India because we know that the origin is Kalapani River, which is Indian. So, why should we allow? So, that's the confusion right now. Nepal is therefore also caught up in a confusion whether to take it up very seriously with India or just to keep on the diplomatic negotiation and convince India China to actually avoid the Lipu Lake Pass. Let's see what happens. But do remember the Lipu Lake Pass because it has been in the news, and anything that's in the news in a given period of 9 to 10 months is bound to come in the prelims exam of next year. Now the prelims question for you, please pick out the valid statement from here. You can find the answer in the last slide. Very well said, absolutely. India right now actually is in a very sensitive situation. What you're saying is valid. It looks like we are being bullied by multiple countries together. Okay, so the first statement is the Treaty of Sugoli 1816 was signed between British and the Nepal Kingdom. It fixed Kali River as the boundary between India and Nepal and the boundary of Western Nepal, means the western boundary of Nepal. Second, Lipu Lake Pass lies at a tri-junction where three countries meet together, including India, Nepal, China, that is the TAR, Tibet Autonomous Region under China, occupied by China. Third, Nepal officially published a revised political map in 2020, including Kalapani, Lipu Lake, and Limpiadhura as its own region. So, which of these do you think are valid? Is it C? Okay, think again. Look at the second statement once again. Okay, the answers you can check from the last slide. Now, quickly, one more article before the last article comes up. This is not a major detailed article, but yes, page number 12. It is actually a very sad thing that has happened. And once again, just like the Sahel region of Africa, I hope you know the Sahel region. If you don't, you should know about it. Yes, absolutely. Now, that's the valid answer. The Sahel region of Africa. For those who are not familiar, if you want, you have to let me know. I can get a detailed video for you. See, but then I really want to make a video on what my students actually want. So let me know, and whichever topics you want to investigate into, you want details into, I shall bring it up for you the same day. So do let me know in the comment box. Now, there's just like Sahel region of Africa, just like Yemen in the past. Today, the Gaza area is looking at massive starvation, hunger, malnutrition, child mortality, infant mortality, maternal mortality. Yes, people are dying because there is nothing to eat. And according to the United Nations today, formally, Israel has been blamed for creating a systematic obstruction of food and medicine supply to the Gaza area. So today, officially, Gaza has been declared as a zone under famine. Famine is a lack of food, lack of basic food and water. That's happening in Gaza right now. It is affecting more than 5 lakh people who are hungry. This is almost 1/5 of Palestinian territory. Okay, so UN is today formally saying that yes, there is a famine that has broken in the Gaza region. Who declares this famine? Well, it is declared by an Italy-based organization called as IPC, Integrated Food Security Phase Classification. This is what has been declared as a famine. This has said that yes, Palestine and Gaza are under severe food starvation. More than 5 lakh people, 20% of region in Gaza is hungry. People are waiting in lines for drinking water, painkillers, antibiotics, bandages, food. Nothing is coming because Israel, owing to its constant missile attacking, targeting, has obstructed the supply way, has obstructed the route through which aid reaches the bottled up, landlocked small region where people come to collect their medicines from. The hospitals has been destroyed, they have been destroyed, clinics, ambulances have been completely devastated, which is known as healthocide. I have made a detailed video on that. It's already on our website. Sorry, it's already on our YouTube channel. So healthocide is happening, a complete devastation of medical infrastructure. Now, alongside this lack of food and famine, it will be expanding soon to the Deir el Balah and the Khan Yunis region, which means two-thirds of Gaza by September will go completely hungry. The cause has been a systematic attacking, healthocide, as I said, a complete obstruction of aid by the United Nations. And what is Israel saying? Israel is denying. Israel is in a state of denial. Israel says that no, we have never restricted food or medicine. We have told the citizens to evacuate at least 24 hours before we lodge an attack. Who will believe the story today? Nobody. Sometimes United Nations says that Israel completely stopped the UN aid workers, Doctors Without Borders, Red Cross workers, who are all working for humanitarian help to even enter the region. In fact, if you remember last week, Al Jazeera journalists also died in the attacks conducted by Israel. But Israel is saying that no, we have not banned any such entry, except in certain emergency situations. We have not banned anything, and our intention was never to hurt the innocent people. All we are trying to do is a massive sanitation campaign against Hamas. We want them to be removed, terminated. It's a face of fear. It's an extremist organization. Our agenda is against Hamas, the militant group. It is not against the people of Palestine. That's what Israel is saying. Now, UN agencies are saying that in future also, that the danger of famine will continue for years altogether. The situation will not stabilize. Starvation is being used as a weapon of war by Israel. Similarly, the United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, has said immediate ceasefire is required. Because even after ceasefire, the starvation will continue. But at least we have to draw a line somewhere. Israel is saying that not at all. We are not destroying the UN peacekeeping forces. Yes, absolutely. About 500 journalists have died. True. Yes, absolutely. That's a valid question. UN peacekeeping was involved, and they have also been dying in these attacks. Sometimes media is not reporting enough. But yes, there are mortalities taking place. But Israel is saying no, we are not doing anything. It is the Hamas which is carrying out these attacks, and the organizations and people who work for Hamas. They are the ones who also attack UN peacekeeping forces. They do not want any peace in the area. It is the Hamas that wants the war to continue, not Israel. Israel's defense minister also says that we only threatened to kill Hamas. We never threatened to kill the innocent people in the Gaza region. And if Hamas surrenders, we will draw a ceasefire today itself. So the question is exactly who is saying the right story? Was Israel right when it said that no, we are only trying to terminate Hamas and we have no intention against killing innocent people? Or is the UN correct in saying that Israel has sponsored healthocide, genocide, and acts of humanitarian violence? That's the question. Thank you so much for your suggestions. Yes, I will make a video absolutely on 5th and the 6th schedule, as Vansh has asked me to, and absolutely as what Shaggy says, let's make a video on the types of the goods and services, goods and services tax, and then yes, antibiotic resistance. Absolutely, absolutely. Your command is my wish here. Your wish is my command here. I will absolutely make all these videos soon. Thank you so much for these beautiful suggestions. Now the last article for the day. This article says, this is from page number 1, by the way. This is page number 1, front page article. And the article is saying that Election Commission of India finally has accepted its mistake. It said that, yes, it was a fault on the part of the Election Commission of India that the names of so many migrant workers and women went missing from the electoral roll in Bihar. And it also says that as a part of our special intensive revision exercise, SIR exercise, Election Commission of India is requesting the political parties who are contesting the Legislative Assembly elections to help find the lost voters. They want them to help the Election Commission of India at the state level to improve its list of voters, to help find the missing voters, to reach out to these voters and to ask them to come and enroll their names. At least it's a change of heart. At least the ECI is ready to accept its mistake. It says that yes, as a part of the revision process, we will allow voters to file online complaints and online claims for their names to come in the electoral roll. It also says we do not want people to get troubled. We do not want people to really struggle to find their voter's ID or documentation or their residential proof. All we need is Aadhaar card. That's it. If Aadhaar card is there, then alongside Aadhaar card, 11 more documents such as your ration card, your birth card and all these. Aadhaar card plus 11 other documents. All these will be the valid proofs which the Election Commission of India will accept, and online complaints can be created, online requests can be submitted, and yes, the government will reach out to these people. Their names will once again come back, and yes, their right to vote. Article 326 of Indian Constitution, the fundamental right to vote to universal adult franchisee will be given to them. An act of social justice, GS paper 2. And here's where I end my discussion for the day. Absolutely. That's true. That's true. So true, Shaggy. I so agree. That's a very valid comment that you're making. Sad but true. So now the last question is from UPSC PYQ itself. UPSC 2017. Consider the following statements. The Election Commission of India is a 5-member body. Second, the Union Minister of Home Affairs decides the election schedule for the conduct of both general and by-elections. Last, Election Commission resolves the disputes related to splits and mergers of recognized political parties. I would say it's an easy question except statement 2. That you may have to think a little bit. UPSC 2017, you can try to pick out the valid answer and post your comment. Yes, absolutely, that's a valid question. Aadhaar is supposed to be used also as a residential proof. But sometimes, for the purpose of state election or enrolling your name in the electoral list, Aadhaar is not considered enough. Because there is often a situation where migrants from outside the country, people who otherwise are not eligible Indian citizens, they also end up making fake Aadhaar cards. Therefore, it is not considered valid sometimes. Similarly, sometimes what happens, people change their address, they move out, but still they are unable to update their Aadhaar card. That also leads to discrepancies. Hence, earlier the Election Commission wanted a proper voter list to include the names of those who will be allowed to vote. But today, because so much has happened, so many problems have happened, so many people have gone missing, so many names were not there, the government is now making its policy a little more easy for people to bring back the migrant workers back on the electoral roll. It is saying, yes, for some time we will allow Aadhaar card only. If you have that, it's okay. You can apply online, we will help you revise it. And 11 other documents as identified will also be allowed for you to bring your name back in the electoral list. Okay? Correct. A very good morning, Srijal. Yes, is there anything you want to say? Please let me know. So these are the answers for the day. And as per your suggestions, I'll see you back with more interesting current affairs videos. Thank you so much for being a part of this beautiful session with me. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope it was informative for you. If it was, then please like, share, and subscribe the channel. And yes, you will be updated with all the current affairs videos today, tomorrow, every day we are uploading videos. You can follow StudyIQ English for the latest updates. Thank you so much for being a part of this session. See you. All the best.